All right, so we will be plotting polar coordinates in this lesson. We'll also be naming polar coordinates. This is still Unit 6. I'm not sure what day this is. That may be incorrect. Check your online objective tracker and your in the website to see if this is true. All right, so I'm going to start with this. So the polar coordinate system has a few different names for it, pieces of it. So a plane with a point O at the origin is known as the pole. Everybody say pole. Pole. Good work. All right. And there is a ray from the pole out, and that is called the polar axis. Good work. Everybody say polar axis. Polar axis. Great. So the polar coordinate system uses distances. Sorry, I just cheated. Distances and an angle to record the position of a point. Points are written, and from the previous slide we did say r theta, where r is the radius. I guess it should be absolute value of r because when we talk distance, we should have a positive value. Now for angles, a positive angle is always going counterclockwise, and a negative angle is always going clockwise. Great. As you can see, this would be your polar axis. And this is your pole, and this is your point. Let's do some. All right, let's graph 4, 0. So how I graph it, and there are multiple ways to graph it, you can do the angle first, and then you can do the radius, but since it starts with the radius, I do the radius first for right now. So we're going to go, starting at the origin, we're going to go out 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 0 degrees. So that's my point. Pretty easy. You could go, okay, here's 0 degrees, and then I need to go out 4 from that. That's just the other way to do it. Let's try 3, negative 120. If I go out 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I go negative 120, well, that's in the clockwise direction. Negative 120 brings us all the way here. It's the same as 240. All right. So again, we went out here, and then we went down here to get to that point. For negative 225, we start here. We go negative, so that means in the negative direction. And then we go 225. And this is where every student messes up pretty much. You're going to go counterclockwise, which actually means you go down. Although it's a positive, you're going to go down. So we're going to go down. This is 180. And this is 225 right here. All right. Just be careful. And then the last one, negative 1, and then negative 30. So that is going clockwise, which means up here. So I'll stop right there. There we are. Great. Good work, class. Let's move along. We have radian degrees, or radians instead of degrees. We are going to start with our polar axis going out from the pole. We're going to go out 1, boom, boom, 1, and then we're going to go 5 pi over 4. So 5 pi over 4, this is 4 pi over 4. So we go out 5 pi over 4, 4. That's right here. For the green guy, again, we're going to go out 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go clockwise, negative 2 pi over 3. So this way until we get here. All right. And we got a blue. We're going negative first, so we'll start at the pole. We're going to go out 2, and then we're going to go pi over 4. Which way do we go? We go down because we're going counterclockwise. So we're right here. And then if we hit -4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going -5 pi, so that is clockwise. So that brings us all the way here. Pretty tricky there, especially when we start with a negative angle. You need to make sure you're following your rules of negative angles going going clockwise and positive angles going counterclockwise. All right, let's go ahead and try these 4 different points. Okay, if I starting at the pole, going out 4, 3, 4, and then I go 135 degrees, that means all the way around until I'm here. And it actually says 135 right there. So that helped me out a lot. Thank you. All right, if I do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go -225, so that means down this way, that's -180, and I do 45 more. I'm at the same spot. That's crazy. So 2 different ways to write that. Let's go ahead and try -4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go 315. So that's almost a full rotation. I'm going all the way around counterclockwise until I'm right there again. That's so crazy. This is amazing. We start here and we go out, and then we're going to go -45 degrees, which is clockwise, and I'm there again. That is just so wild. And it actually is true that you can have an infinite amount of points listed for the exact same position, because technically you could start here, go out here, and you can go around and around and around and around and around, and then hit here and still have the exact same point, just with a really, really big angle or a really, really negative angle. You can go all of those. What connections do you make? I want you to pause and just think through, what are the connections between these angles and the signs of your radius? Pause and think through that. What do you think? All right. So for our connection, hopefully you recognize that from here to here, at least angle-wise, what's the difference? That is an addition. Actually, if we're going this way, that's an addition of 360. The addition here is also 360. Okay. And then if we're looking to go from this value to this value, or this value back and forth, I guess I should go from here this way, you're going to add 180. Okay, and from here to here, you're also adding 180. So they have a pretty clear distance between one another. And 2 are +4, 2 are -4. Also, all of these angles are between -360 and +360. And there are only 4 that you can list between positive 360 and -360. So steps for naming. You're going to add or subtract 2 pi, depending on what you can. Then you're going to replace r with -r and add 180. And then you're going to subtract 180, or pi. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and try this out for 2 pi over 3. Now, if we add 2 pi, well, first, before we forget, pi over 3 is not something fun to add to. So let's think of what we could we add or subtract 180? No, because we're in radians, we're going to need to add or subtract pi or 2 pi. So what would 2 pi be in this same realm? We need to go ahead and say that that would be 6 pi over 3 is the same as 2 pi. That's the same. And then we have 3 pi over 3, which is the same as pi, just to help us when we're adding later on. So we're going to go ahead and put 2. If I add 2 pi over 3, or 2 pi, that's going to make us go beyond 2 pi, which is not good. We're going to subtract. So that gives us -pi, 5 pi over 3. We're going to finish this one in the very last video. Thank you for your work.